I'm also the president and chief operating officer of the Black Business School. And today we're connecting you with brother Amed Hazel. Amed is the president and CEO of Premier Fund Management Group. They are an investment fund that buys and sells mortgage-backed securities, and he's also the author of Profiting from Non-Performance Mortgage Notes. So today we're going to be talking all about mortgage notes and how those can be a part of your investment strategy. As I told him before this call, when I hear the word mortgage-backed securities, I get a little nervous. So I want him to talk me through that a little bit as well. But without further ado, Amed, how are you doing today?
Oh, man, I'm blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution to someone's problems.
Wonderful, man. Wonderful. Well, let's jump right into it. I always ask this question first. So what do you currently do, and how did you get to this point in your career?
Awesome. So I currently buy and sell what's known as mortgage-backed securities. And I got really involved in the business. My wife and I were real estate investors, and we were working in the Baltimore, Maryland area. And we were doing a lot of deals where we, the concept is called wholesaling, where we basically go in and work with the homeowner. We purchase the home and then we resell the contract. So we're not reselling the home. We're not even going to closing on the home. We're just reselling the contract. And my wife and I, we closed over 135 deals, wholesaling mortgages in the Baltimore, Maryland area. And a mentor of mine, just in passing one day, said to me, the Hazels are closing so many deals that you guys should be the bank. And me and my wife gave each other a look like, what? What did he just say? We need to, have a conversation about this later. And we did. And from that point, we, started investigating what would it be to be a banker? What do banks really do? How do banks actually make money? And how does that apply to what we're currently doing? What we're currently doing is, as we are wholesaling houses, we're always up against the mortgage of the house. That's what determines how much profit we can make on a deal based on the mortgage and how much equity is in the home. If there's a high mortgage with no equity, then we can't make money. So once we started investigating how banks make money, our eyes were opened to the world of mortgage-backed securities.
Got you. So, that's cool. So you were already in the real estate industry. You were doing wholesaling before you got into mortgage-backed securities. Tell the audience then, because I don't actually really know. I kind of know what a bank does, but when it comes to real estate, what is the bank actually doing? And how can someone like you, just an independent individual or with a small team, actually fill that role of a bank?
That's an awesome and amazing question, and that was one of the questions that we asked ourselves over 15 years ago, which opened up a world of possibilities for us. The bank, they're not in the real estate business. The bank is in the finance business. But the bank, they make their money off of the debt on the money that they loan out. So the way that a bank sees a loan is a bank, most people, I just want to go off topic for a second. Most people think that we operate in a system using money, and we don't operate in the system using money. We operate in a system using fiat currency. And by its very nature, fiat currency depreciates. So a bank is using fiat currency laws to lend out money 9 times. So if they lend out money 9 times, let's say they lend out money for 9 mortgages, and each one of those mortgages is $100,000 each. Well, if one of those mortgages go bad, what they look to do is sell that mortgage off at a discount so they can put the money back in play again so they can have it maximized at 9 times. So the bank is always looking to sell off its bad debt to create opportunities for them to lend out the same dollar bill and make money off of the same dollar bill.
Right. And is that what we're calling leverage in this case?
Absolutely. That's how they're leveraging, the money. And or I use money and fiat currency interchangeably, but we don't operate using money because it's not backed by anything substantial.
Got you. So that's interesting. So you're taking this role as the bank, and you're buying these non-performing assets. It sounds like, the ones that the banks want to sell off. So they're selling them off because of some reason. If they're selling them, why are you guys buying?
Awesome question. Because the bank has a mindset, and to them, their mindset is the loan to the value of the property is upside down. So the bank says this is a toxic asset, and the bank is looking to get rid of its toxic assets. So the bank understand this model. The bank is playing baseball. We came in and we said, yeah, but we're going to play football. But the bank is not in the football business. The bank is not in the real estate business. So when we came in, our mindset was, wait a minute, we have been meeting with probably met with 1,500 homeowners. And we understand the pains that these homeowners are going through. And we understand that at the end of this toxic mortgage, there is a family. There are children. There are schools that these children go to, and there is also a property. So it's a 2008 said that these are toxic assets, but it wasn't that we're dealing with a bag of corn or rice that can just be thrown away. These are homes that aren't going anywhere. So we just had to make the translation between how the bank saw the asset and what was actually there.
Got you. So keep it more specific then in terms of, I understand that you are playing at different games than the bank was playing. And I want to get into, from your perspective, what caused the 2008 meltdown. I assume it was over leveraging, where now you keep saying 9-1, right? But, banks were levered up 50 or 100-1, I hear, in some cases. And, if too many loans go bad, in those types of scenarios, then, that's what will cause your company or cause you to go, belly up, right? But can you be a little more concrete in terms of, what is, if the banks are playing baseball, what game you guys are actually playing in regards to like making a profit from these mortgage-backed securities?
Awesome. So, yes, what happened is so many loans went belly up all at once because of when these loans were created, and they were created to a market that could not sustain them. They call it the subprime market, and they had adjustable rate mortgages. So when these mortgages adjusted and went to the real price that they should have been at, the people couldn't afford them. And so many people were then facing foreclosure. And they had a lot of people were doing what was called strategic walkaways. They were just walking away from the properties. But what we decided to do is we said, listen, what if we purchase these toxic assets from banks? Would they be willing to sell to us? And initially, the banks, and especially with so much negative stigma and everything that was going on around the asset, the banks said, we don't even know how to sell to someone like you. And we, long story short, we went through a process of helping them and teaching the banks how to sell to an individual like ourselves. And what we then did is we understood that all loans are FDIC insured. So when the bank was selling us a toxic asset, which is a file of loan documents, they are selling us that asset based on the way they see it, which is they're seeing it as just a folder. So they may sell us a folder of information for $100. But now when we get it, we understand that there's $100,000 piece of real estate attached to it. And when we understood that, I mean, I almost lost my mind totally. It was as if a great secret had been revealed to us. So we understood. So wait, we can buy this file from the bank, and some of them were extremely cheap. Some of them was still, the bank was a little wiser, and they were saying, well, we need you to put up 20, 30, 50,000 for this asset, but it might be on a $400,000 or $500,000 property. So once we purchased the file, we then knew that now we have the legal right to lay claim to the actual real estate. And now that the homeowner owed a, let's say, $500,000 mortgage, the homeowner now owes us that $500,000 mortgage. We may have bought it at 50 grand. So now that they owe us, we can say, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, what we would like to do with you guys is restructure your mortgage to maybe where we can get your mortgage down to 250,000, maybe 175. And now you will only owe us 175 instead of owing us 500. It was a win for us and a win for the homeowner to help people stay in their homes.
Got you. I want to jump into that. Yeah, this is very interesting. I want to jump into that a little bit more. But before we do, just to remind everyone, we're here with Amed Hazel. Amed is the president and CEO of Premier Fund Management Group. They are an investment fund that buys and sells mortgage-backed securities. He's also the author of Profiting from Non-Performance Mortgage Notes. So today we're talking all about mortgage-backed securities. He's given us the rundown in terms of how he makes money with this part of financing in the real estate industry. If you guys like this video, please go ahead and press the thumbs up button. Also, please make sure that you share and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well if you want to receive more videos like this in the future. Also, we have a special webinar coming out tomorrow, Friday at 8 p.m. So August 2nd, 8 p.m. about multifamily investing. So if you're interested in getting into multifamily properties, we're doing a special webinar tomorrow night where we talk all about it. All you need to do is go to theemancipationequation.com. That is theemancipationequation.com to go ahead and register. So Amed, let's get back into the conversation. I want to talk about, well, first, why isn't the bank selling? So they're selling the mortgages to you, right? Why didn't they approach the, I guess, homeowner and try to sell the mortgage back to them? Awesome. Or is that even possible?
Yes. Awesome. So the reason that they don't approach the homeowner and try to sell it back to them is that they are already under a contractual agreement with the homeowner. So that is a contract that's already in place. For them, it's easier to sell it to someone like myself because they see me in their mind as being a banker like them. So, once we have the company set up and we're approaching them and we are showing them that we've signed their disclosure, we've gone through their vetting process, they now see us as like a bank like them. So they don't want to ethically restructure the agreement that they already have in place with the homeowner Number one, because it would take too much of their time and resources to do that with every single homeowner. Where with us, they can bundle loans and a package and sell us a package of homes all across, or not homes, but mortgage notes all across the United States, all in one shot. And they don't have to deal with individual homeowners.
Now that's interesting. So you said they bundle these mortgage notes together, right? So let's talk about that a little bit more. So what is the typical size of a bundle? And you said the mortgage notes and not the homes. And can you explain why you said that as well?
Yeah. So the typical size, it could be one or two notes, or it could be 2,000 notes. It just kind of depends on how that particular institution is looking to offload their deals. So there's no hard, fast rule for it, but I've seen portfolios, and sometimes they call it a tranche. I've seen these portfolios or tranches and with 5,000 notes in them. And the reason that I made the distinguishment between mortgage note and the home is that where most investors get hung up is most people are thinking about the property, the home, the home, the home. And on our side, what we came to realize is that it's not really about the home, it's about the mortgage note, because the mortgage note is what's carrying the actual power. The mortgage note is actually the legal document that can only be changed through a modification, which is a legal process. So although the home prices may fluctuate in a given market, the mortgage notes never fluctuate. The mortgage notes, the mortgage-backed security is always solid because it is a legal document. Now, because there's a fluctuation in the property value, of course, it's going to affect the stability of the mortgage-backed security. But I can tell you that there are people all over the United States that have constant fluctuations in their property values, and they don't even know it, but their mortgage stays constant.
Now that's interesting. So what if someone defaults on their mortgage after well, actually, before we get to that, what are we talking about in terms of, percentage, right? So if you were to buy the cost of the bundle at full price versus how much you're actually buying it for, what is it, 60 cents on the dollar, 50 cents or 70 cents? Like, what's a good deal look like for you?
So, that's a great question. And there's no hard, fast rules on it. And I'll tell you why. Each institution is looking to, they may be up against the FDIC that is dictating to them what they can or what they need to liquidate the package or portfolio at, because the FDIC is going to be putting forth that insurance money. So they may say, yeah, you need to sell this portfolio at 50 cents on a dollar. And that's what they'll be mandated to do. But sometimes what will happen is like, so I was going to say any type of investment, but sometimes what will happen is what a bank may be selling a deal for in January of a year, they may not be selling for in October. In January, they asking for 60 cents on the dollar. Whereas in October, they're willing to take 30 cents on a dollar because they don't want to carry those assets over into another year and incur taxes and other late fees and penalties for not collecting on a debt. So it depends. But a good deal for me, if I can get a deal at 40 cents on a dollar, and depending on where the property is located, the state, a lot of these things come in as a factor. If I can get it at 50 cents on a dollar, 55 cents on a dollar, when I start hitting 60 cents on the dollar, it starts getting a little tight for me. but I know investors that will pay up to 90 cents on the dollar to acquire certain assets.
Got you, got you. So that leads to a couple of questions in regards to maximizing this investment, because your work isn't done when you buy the security. You actually have to get these non-performers to perform, I assume. So can you talk about that in terms of what's your strategy to get non-performing assets to actually start performing? And then what actually happens to the asset if the person who is under that contract, they still don't perform?
Awesome. So, so I have I have several strategies, and I have some of my strategies are a little different than other mortgage-backed security investors. So for me, if I have, let's say, a portfolio of, let's say, 100 notes, and I can make $1,000 off of each note if I sell the entire bundle today, then I will sell those 100 notes as soon as I buy them. I quickly sell them, and if I'm only making $1,000 off of each deal, then I'll make 100 grand in a single day. So that's one strategy. We call that flipping the note. So I'll go into a few other strategies. So in the event when a homeowner decides we're not paying, we don't want to cooperate, we don't even want the house any longer. What we do, in the worst case scenario, which is what we do the least, we will initiate foreclosure. Now, we're not predatory lenders, so our model is not to go in and take homes from homeowners. But in a last effort attempt to collect our investment, we will initiate the foreclosure process on a homeowner to reclaim the investment that we made. But we also do loan modifications where we'll drop the principal balance, we'll drop monthly payments, and we really want to keep people in their homes. But we need to also maximize our investment and get a good return on our investment. We refinance. We'll refinance the deal to make it more affordable for the homeowner to pay. We offer homeowners the opportunity to do a short sale. So we'll agree to take less than what's owed to us, and we like to have the homeowner do a short sale with someone that's already in their family. That way the property stays in their family. So we have a number of different strategies that we use, and really it's about a dozen of them that we use. And sometimes we put them in combination with other strategies to make it beneficial for us as well as beneficial for our homeowners.
Got you. So in the next segment, I want to talk a little bit more about that in terms of why this strategy, in terms of being the financer instead of going directly into, buying and selling real estate properties. And also want to talk about how you go about finding your investors. But before we do that, I just want to remind everyone I'm here with Amed Hazel. Amed is the president and CEO of Premier Fund Management Group. They are an investment fund that buys and sells mortgage-backed securities. He's also the author of Profiting from Non-Performing Mortgage Notes as well. So if you like this video, you like the content, please go ahead and press the thumbs up button on YouTube. Also, please make sure that you share and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to receive more interviews like this in the future. Last thing. Don't forget about our webinar this Friday. So tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, just go to theemancipationequation.com. That is theemancipationequation.com. We'll be talking all about real estate, specifically about multifamily properties and how you and your family can go about securing one of these properties as well. So Amed, let's talk about, I want to talk about financing, and then also why not just go into real estate directly? So actually, let's first talk about how do you go about finding your investors, and then we'll talk about why this strategy over just straight up real estate investing.
Sure. So when you, just so that I'm clear, when you're talking about finding my investors, are you talking in terms of those investors supplying me with capital, or are you talking about investors that are purchasing deals from me?
Yeah, so I was talking about those individuals supplying you with capital, but then also let's talk about the other side too. So how do you go about finding these banks and other people who or other entities that want to sell assets?
Okay, awesome. So for investors that are looking to invest with us, we speak at a lot of events. We network with at a lot of events, and because we are in this space, mortgage-backed securities, there are higher level people that tend to understand this space that may have worked for Goldman or Lehman. They understand what happened and what took place, but a lot of times they don't have access or they can't get access. So they immediately recognize the potential of the opportunity, and they say, "Hey, Amed, we want to get involved with you. We want to invest capital with you, but we don't want to do that dirty work that you do on a daily basis. So let us deploy capital with you, and we'll just get our returns." As it relates to how we find entities or banks that are looking to sell, it can be a pretty closed mouth industry because banks don't want to really tell that they are in trouble, and that and then we have a lot of internal controls and things that we look at. Like we have bank data that we look at. Like we know certain banks might be still holding $4 trillion worth of toxic assets from 2008 that they still have not released yet. So there are still so many other financial institutions that we can look up the data and find out that they're still holding toxic assets. And we just place the phone call and reach out to them and say, "Hey, listen, we know you guys are holding toxic assets, and we'd like to find out how we can get involved to help you alleviate and relieve yourself of some of these assets, and how we could just help your bank out." The third point is because we are in the finance space, but we also understand it from a real estate perspective. We go to real estate events and we talk to real estate buyers and we say, "Listen, it's been more beneficial for you to actually buy the mortgage note and then work your way into the property instead of just buying a property. Because with the mortgage note, I have more flexibility because the mortgage note is actually considered a true asset. So the mortgage note is the finance on it. So now that I understand that the mortgage note is the finance, I can sell off pieces of the finance. All right. So I can chop the finance up and sell off pieces of the finance and get triple and quadruple of what my returns normally would be if I just invested in the real estate.
Got you. Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah. So I really want to have a part two of this discussion. I didn't know if I was going to be this interested in this subject, but it's like very, very interesting. And I think that we would want to do something deeper with what you're talking about, for our audience in terms of just some type of special session. So if you guys want to see a special 60-minute session with Amed talking about his strategy, how he goes about doing this, please go ahead and comment in chat that you would love to see that, and we'll do our best to actually make that happen as well. Amed, before we get out of here, just one final question. Like for those who want to get started in the mortgage-backed securities industry, what's your best piece of advice for those individuals?
For someone looking to get started, there is it's really about a mindset shift. And I know this is general what I'm saying, and I know this is broad, and I know that this particular piece of information isn't really a direct actionable step, but it's about just understanding that there's two sides. One is the real estate side, and one is the finance side. Now, I wanted to, so in doing this interview, I'm not trying to just push material or anything like that, but I wrote a book, Profiting from Non-Performing Mortgage Notes, being the banker with your investment and your capital being backed by real estate. So that's a great place to start and get some foundational knowledge. I also have a website called Note Buying Cash Machine, NOTE, notebuyingcashmachine.com, where you can look and see different modules and things like that. But what I would suggest somebody is, I would say, buy the book first, start there. Don't purchase anything on the membership site first, because I like people to have a very solid foundation of information before they start taking steps and just spending money. Let's take it one step at a time, and let's do more sessions and have further discussions about this before someone starts putting out money and buying training courses and stuff like that. I'm not that guy that just likes to push material. That's not really even the business that I'm in. I'm really just trying to share information and help people have an understanding of what it is we're doing in this industry.
Got you. If they want to get in touch with you, so the name of the book one more time is Non-Performing Mortgage Notes, and the name of the website, I put it in the chat, and that is notebuyingcashmachine.com. That is notebuyingcashmachine.com. And if people want to get in touch with you, just go to your website, social media, anything like that you want to promote?
Yeah. So if someone wants to get in touch with me, they can reach out to me on LinkedIn at Amed Hazel. I'm on Instagram as Amed Hazel. I'm on Facebook as Amed Hazel. And, let's start there. I like to, I always tell people that I work with, I don't kiss on the first date. So I like to get to know people and work with people intimately. And then later I'll give out my email address and my personal cell phone number as I begin to build relationships with people and work with them. So, find me on social media as Amed, AMED, Hazel, Hazel, and start by taking a look at the book, Profiting from Non-Performing Mortgage Notes.
Wonderful. So Amed, thank you so much for your time today. I cannot wait to do part 2 or a special session.
I think we lost audio or we froze.
Yeah. So sorry about that, guys. Yeah. So my computer just died on me, but I just want to let you guys know that thank you so much for everything that you guys are up to. Thank you for just tuning in. Please make sure that you subscribe to our one YouTube channel, and also make sure that you sign up for the Emancipation Equation that happens tomorrow night at 8 p.m. And in that webinar session, you will learn all about, how do you go about buying multifamily properties. So that is theemancipationequation.com. So thank you guys so much, and we'll be connecting soon.
Thank you for having me.
All right.